Hey everyone, Mr. G's Gaming here. Last night, or last morning, or whenever you were watching it, 11 o'clock last night at Eastern Time, Nintendo presented the Nintendo Switch. And I figured that since everybody is probably doing it, I might as well talk about it as well. I've just finished rewatching the presentation, so I know what I'm talking about. I've taken my notes here. Let's begin. Let's start with the suggested retail price of $299.99. I'm glad that it's not nearly as expensive as the PS4 and Xbox One were at launch, but I still believe that the Switch should have been cheaper so that it could more easily compete with and attract customers. Something like maybe $250 or even $200. Paid online service with a free trial until autumn of 2017. That's something I'm not really excited for. With the exception of Netflix on the Wii U and the Wii, because Netflix, of course, has always been a paid service, playing games online with Nintendo has been free for the most part. That's something from Nintendo I actually preferred over Sony and Microsoft. I know that online service for Xbox Live and PlayStation Online is very affordable. I mean, what, if I remember right, it's $60 for a year? I pay $60 a month for standard internet, so it's actually pretty fair. So, if Sony and Microsoft can do it right, even though that I'm against the concept altogether, if Sony and Microsoft can do it right, then I'm pretty sure that Nintendo will have something just as affordable. At least I really hope so, because if they don't, well, I'm totally giving up on getting a Switch. Or if I do get a Switch before then, it won't pay online. Well, I probably won't get the Switch until holidays anyways, for a reason that I'll bring up later on. Region locking undone. Most people aren't going to care. Personally, I don't care because I don't bother buying games from other countries. I mean, for Pete's sakes, I don't even read Japanese. I mean, okay, I know some Japanese, but I don't read it consistently to know what I'm talking about. I just wait for them to release the games in the state instead of me buying games and having them shipped from another country. It's cheaper that way, and if the games are popular enough, chances are they're going to be translated and localized. Unless you're the Mother series, in which case you're gonna have to wait 5 to 10 years for that to happen. I know that a lot of people do care, and I'm glad that Nintendo is taking this approach. Being able to take the Switch on the go, well, being a fan of handheld market, this is actually really exciting. In fact, this is what I wanted with the Wii U. In fact, I had the misconception of that's what the Wii U was going to be like, and that actually was why I bought the Wii U. And I was like, oh, I can play the games when someone else is using the television. Too bad I'm the only one in my household who actually watches television. So, it doesn't really matter. The battery life ranges from 3 to 6 hours. Of course, you're going to have that variance because of simply how powerful games are going to use. More powerful games are going to need more energy and off the system, which means shorter battery life. I'm actually very happy with this battery life. Most plane rides don't last much more than 8 hours. Joy-Con controllers. The developers stay safe, and actually, I find that hilarious because they do not look like they would feel natural. I know Japan people like things small and cute and cuddly. Who would cuddle with a controller? But there is a limit. I don't have very large hands, but the Joy-Cons still look too small for me. Imagine Retro of Review Tech trying to play this with his big sausage fingers. No, if I want to play local multiplayer, I would just hand over a Pro controller. The wrist straps, however, I do like. It makes the controllers larger and makes the L and R buttons more prominent. But I will say that the A, B, X, Y buttons still look very cramped when right next to the analog stick. HD Rumble, I'm guessing, allows the controller to convey weight. I honestly not sure what they're trying to convey there. They just show him with a cup and glass of ice and says you can even tell how much ice are in there, and like, what? Is it, like, conveying late and all that? I mean, it's cool and all, and I'm sure it will help immerse the player, but is it really worth having? No. I don't even care for the Rumble pack that was used with certain N64 titles, and actually, if I remember right, wasn't that a selling point for Star Fox 64? Well, I don't really... I'm just saying, I don't really care for if my controller vibrates or not. In fact, I find vibrating controllers sometimes distracting. But now on to the games. The software is the most important part anyways. Starting with 1-2 Switch. And... oh god, another local multiplayer party game for kids and the family! Nintendo, nobody gives a shit. The era of party games is over. I know you don't want to accept this, as this is what you've been into since making cards in the 1800s, but people just don't care anymore. I mean, whoever gave a shit about Nintendo Land, well, okay, it was praised by critics, but people stopped caring about motion controls nearly a decade ago. Like, literally only a year after the Wii was released. ARMS. Now, when I saw this, my jaw was agape. And no, it was not because it was cool, it was because of two other very different reasons. One, what were they drinking when they thought up of coiled arms? Or are they just a fan of the Pokemon Hitmonlee? Second of all, like I'm saying with 1-2 Switch, no one cares about motion controls. Are you really that out of touch with society, Nintendo? Nintendo? I mean Nintendo. Splatoon 2. I never really got into Splatoon, but it seemed like a really good game, and from what I've heard, it was very popular. I never picked up the original Splatoon because I just wasn't interested at the time and didn't expect it to become nearly as popular as it did. That taken into consideration, I will consider buying Splatoon 2 for the Switch. A very important question to ask though is, why the heck did Hisashi Megami decide to cosplay during the presentation? It looks absolutely ridiculous. But hey, it's a good laugh. Super Mario Odyssey. Now, after seeing 1-2 Switch and ARMS, I'm relieved to find a game I am really looking forward to. I was disappointed not to see an open-world Mario game since 64 and Sunshine. I liked Galaxy, don't get me wrong, but even that wasn't enough for me. Just from the trailer, the game looked beautiful, and I can see this game getting huge praise. The only downside is that it's not a launch title, and trust me, if a good launch title will definitely get the people flocking to your system, and if you don't have a Mario game at launch, I honestly don't see the Switch getting a good launch. And the Nintendo needs a good launch in order to be successful. I mean, oh my god, the Wii U had a terrible launch, and that system died quickly, and which is really disappointing because the Wii U got pretty good games on it. But poor launch, it became unsuccessful. Xenoblade 2. I've never played the original Xenoblade Chronicles for the Wii, and I don't think I'll be playing the sequel. But considering how much praise the first Xenoblade received, I can see this being rather successful. Regardless, the game's visuals look absolutely beautiful. I mean, look at that. The grass. Honestly, I say that a lot. What I'm saying is that I've always used grass as like a medium of how great the graphics are. Like, if I can see each individual blade of grass in high detail, then I say the graphics are good. I'm serious. That's where I'm base a lot of graphics quality on. Fire Emblem Warriors. The trailer didn't really show much. Personally, I don't even like the Fire Emblem series. There's something about tactical role-playing games that I find really displeasing. If you like those types of games, good. You're probably really excited for this game. As for me, well, I couldn't care less. Dragon Quest. Like Fire Emblem, I don't really care for the Dragon Quest series. You wouldn't think so, considering most of the games I've let's played on this channel are role-playing games, but no, don't really care for Dragon Quest. Since X has already been released at... Did I really say X? I says X because I wrote 10 as an X on my notes. Since 10 has already been released and 11 is being in development for the PlayStation 4, I doubt anyone is willing to buy the Switch for either of those games. But who knows, those games are pretty popular. Heroes has already been released, so I believe they will share the similar fate with 10 and 11. Shin Megami Tensei. Prior to this presentation, I knew next to nothing about Shin Megami Tensei. All I know is that one of my friends really liked the 4th game, and apparently this is the 25th anniversary of the series. I feel kind of embarrassed for being completely out of the loop now because I'm 21, so that is like, geez, a series that is 4 years older than me. And I didn't even know anything about it until my friend started playing the 4th game about a year ago. Project Octopath Traveler. Obviously, that's a project name and not going to be the name of the final project. I am very interested in the art style. It reminds me of the Bravely games, which is art style that I also really like. Square Enix definitely got my attention, but then again, a lot of Square Enix games I really like. I mean, you saw, I'm a huge fan of the Bravely series, and I've also played a handful of Final Fantasy games, and I liked all of those. Now Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. It's been 6 years, and yet I'm still very excited to see this on the Switch. Actually, I've heard that aren't mods coming for the Switch version. Either way, we can finally play Skyrim on the toilet! Yay! Well, I'm particularly excited because I never had the opportunity to play Elder Scrolls, and I've been hearing great things about Skyrim. I mean, yeah, I know it's available for PC, but my computer is crap when playing games. Heck, it can barely play Portal 2, and it gets tons of slowdown when playing EG and Legacy of Lunatic Kingdom. You see my Let's Play of EG, you see how much slowdown I get, and it's ridiculous. Okay, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Well, we all knew that it was coming. I mean, heck, it was a Wii U title that got cancelled and moved onto the Switch. We all knew it was going to be launched. It would be ridiculous if it didn't come onto launch. With Super Mario Odyssey not coming until the holidays, I only hope that this hyped game will be enough to get enough systems sold upon system launch. The voice acting that they showed off is amazing. Don't get me wrong, it is excellent. I mean, finally, a Zelda game that's fully voice acted. Yay! That yay didn't mean to sound sarcastic. Sega and EA's presentation. Okay, well, here's a problem. They're not really engaging. The Sega representatives act like a dork who is too nervous to be on stage, and his translator makes it work. I mean, really, he jumps on this game and he's like, yeah! I'm like, what is that? The EA representative sounds rehearsed, and yeah, it's important to rehearse, but you're not supposed to sound rehearsed. Let me restate that. It's important to rehearse, but you shouldn't sound like you've rehearsed this. Overall, there are games that I'm looking forward to, games I'm not looking forward to, and games that I know others are looking forward to. But the presentation itself was underwhelming. I mean, it didn't really feel all that engaging. It just felt overall dull, poor, rehearsed. It felt like they were trying too hard at some points and not really hard at all in other points. I mean, like, it just seemed kind of goofy. The presentation itself was crap. The games that they showed off, some of them were actually really good, and I'm really excited. I probably won't get the Switch at launch, but if you're a huge Zelda fan and like Skyrim, I actually do wish. Personally, I won't get the Switch at launch, but I hope that a lot of people will make a different decision and actually purchase the Switch at launch. Heck, I hope that some people even pre-order the Switch because I want Nintendo to be successful. I've been a Nintendo fan since childhood, and well, it sucks when you see them fail. Either way, despite all that, I think that the Switch looks like a decent system. Actually, it looks more than a decent system. It looks like a good system. Like I said, some software I'm not really interested in. Others I am really excited for, and I hope that you guys are too. That concludes our presentation. Tell me what you think about the Switch presentation. What's your own opinions? Write down in the comments. Of course, like this video and subscribe for more. Okay. Signing out, everyone.